Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday, which means it's time for a 5x5. This is where I take 5 topics related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each topic. And at the end of the 5 minutes, I move on to the next topic. It's always quick, it's always snappy. You never know what you're going to get. And today, I'm going to be doing another live performance special. So we're going to have 6 segments here today, not 5 segments. And the idea is I'm going to take 3 clips of me performing at an actual gig. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play those 3 clips for you. After each clip, I'm going to play the clip again, but this time I'm going to put a commentary track over the top. Because I firmly believe that the best way to learn and the best way to get better is by studying your own footage and looking at other people's footage as well, and looking at performances. We can always improve. The day that we stop thinking that we can improve is the day that I'm going to get out of this industry. It's as simple as that. So I've been around for a long time. Hopefully listening to the commentary over these videos might help you guys with something that I'm aware of that you might not be. I'm not too sure. But these videos always tend to be really popular. So I'm going to do another live performance 5x5 special, and it's going to start right now. Okay guys, we're going to do something with a pack of cards, but before we do, I want to show you 3 very special cards. Have a look at these. These cards are blank. The blank on one side, the blank on the other side. These are what cards look like before they're printed. We're going to do something with these 3 cards. In a second, you're going to have a very important job. Your job is to pick one of these blank cards. And you'll be able to pick any one that you want to. You're also going to need a pen. So let me give you the pen. We'll put the blank cards over there. We'll get back to that in a minute, okay? Now, you have an important job as well, sir, because we have a pack of cards here, and you're going to need to pick one of these cards. 52 cards, 52 possibilities. So I'm going to riffle down the deck with my thumb in a second, and you're going to grab any one that you want to. So as I riffle down the deck, just say stop. Stop. There, perfect. If I were you, I would have stopped at that exact point as well. So, can you pass the pen to that gentleman over there? And what I'd like you to do, sir, is your card's the 4 of hearts. Could you please write your name right there on the 4 of hearts? That's very good. That handwriting analysis tells me that you're probably a doctor. Is that right? Maybe not, I don't know. I'm going to leave your card sticking out the pack about halfway. Is that all right? About halfway. We're going to cut it down there. That's about halfway, right? Your job is to keep an eye on these. Remember, your job was to keep an eye on the 3 blank cards. Okay. Your job is to keep an eye on the card. Now, there is a trick in magic called a transposition. The idea of a transposition is you make 2 objects change places. So if I had a pen and a card and I made them change places, that's a transposition. I'm going to try and do a partial transposition with your signed 4 of hearts and one of these blank cards. The blank cards that you examine. Now, it's your choice. That's number 1, that's number 2, that's number 3. Which one do you want? You can have any one that you would like. Which one would you want?
3.
Have you ever helped a magician before? So I'm not helping one now. So this one's 1, this one's 2, this one's 3. So in all seriousness, this is the one you want. Is that correct?
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to give you the pen as well. And what I want you to do is just take the pen. Could you just sign your card as well? I'll put it there in front of you. Could you sign your card for me? You don't need those 2. Amazing. You're not a doctor. That's neat handwriting. Very good. Can you hold your hand up for me? And I'll take the pen because that's how I got it. You can put your other hand on top. So think about this for a minute. 3 cards that you guys examined. You've picked one of them and you have wrote your name on one side of it. I don't know if that's the back or the front because they're blank on both sides. You, however, picked a 4 of hearts, which was your choice, and you signed your name on the face of the 4 of hearts, which has been sticking out the deck, and you've been holding on to that and watching it the entire time. I'm going to try and do a partial transposition. That's right. I'm going to make the face of your card come off, the entire face. Seriously, the face. Think John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. The face is going to come off, and it's going to attach itself to the blank card that you signed. Honestly, it just got real right here at the House of Secrets. Watch this. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3. Take your 4 of hearts and turn it over, sir. Because now that card is blank. And the reason that card is blank is because that is the back
of the card that you've been holding on to the whole time. You see, I made the face change places. You look so confused, you look like a rabbit caught in headlights. Slowly lift up your hand. That's the card that you examined, that you've signed from the very beginning. And I call this nothing short of a miracle. Okay, so this particular routine is called Face Off, and it really is one of my favourite routines to perform. And one of the reasons is it always gets a great reaction from anyone that I perform it to. Now, notice that there's 3 blank cards that are used in this routine, 3 cards that are blank on both sides. I keep them underneath the cellophane of the card box, and then when I want to use them, I can. When I don't want to, I don't have to. And I like giving the cards out at the beginning, you know, and having them examined, making sure all okay. Now, again, I'm doing a side steal in this routine, basically to just steal one of the blank cards away. Notice I do the side steal, I hold the card out, and then you have to have a reason. If you're going to dump it into your pocket, you know, you have to have a reason for that. So my reason is going in to get the pen. So I'm already way ahead of the audience. They don't think that the trick's even started, but I'm already kind of set up for a really important part of the routine. Now, I know that when magicians put cards down on the table and they're not the correct amount than the spectators are thinking of, they feel a little bit guilty about that. Don't. Just make sure you put the focus on somewhere else. In this case, the focus has been put on the deck of cards, and because the focus has been put on the deck and not the cards on the table, nobody's really paying attention. Now, I just want to say something about the force here. You notice that I do a riffle force. Now, I know about 55,000 different forces. And I've had people on the channel before go, oh, the riffle force is so tired, it's so boring, it's so, you know, so everybody knows how the riffle force works. And I completely disagree. The reason I love the riffle force so much is because it just makes sense. And it just works. And I don't think we should look down at, you know, at moves where... you know, they're old hat if they work, and the riffle force is a great force. Now, when I'm out jogging the card there, so they pick the card and they sign it, and then I out jog it, that move is actually a move from Matthew Dowden. And it's a Matthew Dowden sleight, and he first published this on Party Animal, and it's one that I use in a lot of my routines, and it's a fantastic sleight. If you don't know it, I obviously teach it on this particular project that I did with RSVP, but... it's such an amazing move because it really makes it look like you've outjogged that card from the deck. So, you know, if you don't know that move, it's well worth learning. Now, the next part of this routine is having them pick one of the blank cards and putting it into their hand. Now, the important thing when you're putting a card into a spectator's hand, especially if you don't want them to, you know, look at it or turn it over or anything, is audience management is the key here, is what I'm trying to say. Picking the right person is so vitally important, and a skill that's very underappreciated that you need to learn when you're performing magic, especially close up, is understanding that not every single person on the table makes the right type of person for an audience member or a spectator, especially when you're doing something that involves them holding something in their hand, maybe whether it be this or Keymaster or sponge balls or something like that. So one thing that you need to be doing when you're going over to a group of people is you need to be kind of looking around at the people that you're performing for and figuring out who's the best person for this trick, who's the best person for that trick, who's the best person for that trick. Such a vitally important thing that a lot of people overlook. And I've seen it with stage performers as well. One question I get a lot on this channel is, hey, you know, I struggle to get people up on stage. Why do I struggle to get people up on stage? And the reason is you're picking the wrong people. When I walk out on stage, I've clocked within seconds about 4 or 5 people that I think would be perfect for various different routines. And it's made a lot easier if you do close-up beforehand, because then you can kind of scout them out beforehand. Now, back to this routine, the only other important point that I want to make is really build up the impossibility of what's happening here. Because that moment when the card is now printed with the face of the other person's card in their hands, I like to kind of call that a sponge balls moment. And what I mean by that is it's impossible. One of the reasons that magicians love sponge balls so much is because of that moment where you have a card literally, sorry, not card, you have two balls appear in their hand and they're only aware of one ball in their hand, right? It's a really magical, organic moment. And we always try to replicate that. And Keymaster was an attempt to replicate it. And any routine where something's happening in their hand is a great way to replicate that. And this is the perfect example. The one more thing that I'd like to add is blank cards are so awesome. It's why I was so passionate about doing this project with RSVP. Blank cards really are great. And laymen kind of look at blank cards a little bit like jumbo coins, in that they've never seen anything like that before. They want to examine it. They want to know exactly what's going on, right? They want to know everything. And when you have, in this example, a card just print with the face of another card, it's a really incredible moment. So it's one of the reasons I advocate using blank cards in your routines. Guys, coming close, I'm going to show you something crazy. I'm going to show you a trick with a small packet of cards. This is not a full deck. The reason this is not a full deck is because I do not play with a full deck. I haven't played with a full deck for years, to be honest. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've written things on the other side of these cards. Okay? I've written things on the other side of these cards. And Theo, you're going to pick one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these cards like this, and at any point you want to, you're going to say stop. Okay? Now you can say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
There, that one there?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You don't want to change your mind?
100%.
Okay, I'm happy if you're happy. Are you happy? You could have had that one, that one, that one, that one. Now, so we've never met before, have we?
No.
No. My name's Craig. What's your name?
I'm James.
Nice to meet you, James. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Are you okay, James?
Yeah, fine, thank
Let me ask you a question. If these cards here, if every single one of these cards had your name on the other side, would that be good?
you. Yeah.
Would that be good enough to get a big round of applause, people?
Yeah.
Seriously, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Check it out. Your name on every single one of these cards. Look at that. Your name on every single one. That says your name, that says your name, that says your name, that says your name, that says your name. You said you'd be impressed. You're not impressed. I'm upset. Are you impressed, James?
I'm impressed, yeah.
The thing is, you should be impressed. Do you know why? Because Theo picked one of these cards. And you could have picked anyone you wanted to. You know what's really weird, Theo? All of these cards have got your name on it. But this is the only one, James, that actually has your name on it. Which is crazy. But hang on, James, because we're going to go one step further. I'm going to show you. That's not magic. That's a trick. Would you like to see real magic? Would you like to see what real magic looks like there, James?
Yeah.
If you do, then I will show you real magic. I'm going to lay these cards out on the table like that. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Now watch. James. We're going to do this slowly, one card at a time. We take this card, so we have a James next to a your name. All I have to do is snap my fingers, and when I do, believe it or not, we now have two cards with James on it, which I think is kind of really weird. Let's see if we can take this card. Clearly, you can see it says your name on it. Until I snap my fingers, when I do, it says James on it. I mean, this is the sort of thing, I don't even understand this. Look at this one. You do this yourself. Just snap your fingers over it. Turn it over. Isn't that the weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Not right.
Look, I'm going to keep doing this until you guys like it. Look, it says your name. Look, it says. What does it say?
Your name?
No, it says James. Nice try. But it works with every single card, though. You just take this one, you do this, you wave it, it gets like this one. This one here, what does that say right there?
Your name.
Your name, until I do this. Do you know what it says now?
James.
Now you're catching on. This is amazing, isn't it? You look freaked out. You should be. Hold your hand out for me. You do it yourself. Wiggle your fingers with your other hand. No, the other hand, that's too difficult. Very good. Turn it over. Look at that. Check it out. We'll do this last one. If I get this last one, they're going to go crazy. We've done all of these. Look at this. James, 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 James. This is the last one. All I have to do is snap one last time and check it out. That one has James on it as well. Every single one of these cards all the way through, they now have James. And I think that is a miracle. Thank you. So this last routine here is called, well, it's basically my variation of wildcard. And I love wildcard. I've been doing it for years and years and years. I remember it was one of the first routines that I ever learned when I got into Magic. And I loved it. I fell in love with the premise of changing cards. And I remember the first time I saw Tommy Wonder do wildcard. I realised this was something that needed to be in the my act for the rest of my life. And I've played around with so many different ways of doing wildcard, and this is probably my second favourite way of doing it. My favourite way of doing it is the way that Rylan created, called Wild Cubes, but that's not about this right now. But I still do this all the time as well. So what I'm doing here is, rather than using playing cards, I'm actually using cards, but they've got apparently, different names on them. And there's a couple of different ways of doing this. Obviously, the name is a force name. Now, you can do pre-show. You can force the name using digital force bag. Or, if I've been performing a few times and I pick up that somebody's name is the name on my force packet, that's just a perfect scenario. And then you've got this moment, and I've never seen anyone else do this before other than me, but using the wild card setup to force one particular card, whilst at the same time showing that all the backs are normal, is a really nice moment, because it kind of allows you to have an extra magical moment before you go into the actual wild card plot. And this is, I've used this in a few different ways, but using the Hammond count makes that particular force very, very easy to do. But as I say, at the same time, the other thing it does is it as well as losing my way here, sorry, as well as the forcing the particular card, the other thing that it'll do is it shows the backs of the cards are all normal as well, but subtly, without saying, look, all of the cards are normal on the back. Now, in terms of wildcard, I've got lots of different ways of doing wildcard, and a lot of the time, the way I do it is with this particular handling, which is very, very simple. Magicians would think that this is the most simple handling that there is, and it is. This is the most simple handling. You can get way more complicated with wildcards. You can get way more crazy with so many different funky moves. But the thing is, look at the reactions from the people that are watching. In reality, you don't need to do that. You can do a very, very simple series of double lifts, and you can get that exact same approach. You can get that exact same thing, and there's no difference. So I suppose the big piece of advice I can give you from this is, don't always look for the most complicated way to do a trick. Yes, I know hundreds of different ways of doing wildcard, but a lot of the time when I'm performing in the real world, that's what I'll do, because it allows me to focus on presentation. It allows me to focus on presentation and not have to worry about what I'm doing or what I'm saying. And instead, it allows me to focus on what's important. So when you've got a routine, and I do see magicians do this an awful lot. They go, and I've seen people ask questions on Facebook forums and on my channel. They go, oh, I do an ambitious card, but I want to know some really difficult moves to include in the ambitious card routine. Now, why would you want to do that? Yeah, if you've seen a particular move, and it's difficult, but you want to include it because you think it fits with your style or your routine or your performance or whatever, by all means, more power to you. Go for it, 100%. But if you're just putting those moves in for the sake of it, well, what's the point? Because then all you're doing is it's magical masturbation. You're just literally just performing magic to yourself. Look for the way of performing the routines that you perform that maximizes the entertainment from the people that are watching it. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Absolutely 100%. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. I've got the two jokers out of this deck, and I'm going to put them there. We're going to get back to them in a minute. What's your name?
Louise.
Louise and Nick. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good.
I'm Craig.
Hi, Craig.
How's it going? Nick, you're going to help me with this. Is that okay?
I certainly am.
If I'm not looking you directly in the eyes, Nick, I'm not being rude. The light between your head and my head has got some sort of laser beam thing.
I can imagine.
Isn't it terrible when you turn up with the same haircut?
Lights in the room, okay.
No, right. So we've got a pack of 52 cards here.
Okay.
And we're going to use the two jokers, but we're not going to use every single one of these cards. We're just going to use one of them, all right? And you get to choose which one. It's very exciting. Very, very exciting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread through, just touch a card, any card that you want to. Are you sure you want that one?
Yep.
Now, I'm allowed to look at it. It's not the sort of trick where I don't see it. The 10 of clubs. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Wonderful. If you're happy, I'm happy. I'm going to give you a pen. Can you take the pen? And can you write your name in big letters on the face of the card? Now, the reason I ask you to write your name on it is because even though that pen doesn't seem to work very well, it means that well, it could be that either. It does mean that that card is unique, right? So in other words, it's the only card in the pack with your name on it, unless you have a habit of writing Nick on various playing cards from time to time. And hey, depending on how much Magic you watch, you might have that, I don't know. So you're going to help me as well, if that's okay. We have Nick's card. Now, Nick, this is going to knock your socks off. Are you wearing socks?
I am.
Not for much longer, I'm telling you. I'm going to take your 10, right? And I'm going to put it in between the two jokers. Can you see that? Is that fair?
Yeah.
I want you to see it's going in between the joker on the top and the joker on the bottom. Now hold your hand out for me and put your other hand on top. So we have a situation now where you picked a card, the 10 of clubs. You signed the card. That was your choice. You could have picked any card. You signed it. If I told you I could make that card vanish from in between those two jokers, would that be a good trick or would that be a miracle? It would be a miracle, wouldn't it? It's going to happen on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lift up your hand. Because I want you to see now, in between the two jokers, look at that. Check that out. Thank you. That's not bad. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. Don't you think that's kind of weird? It is. Now, the thing is, would you like me to bring it back? We can't just have it gone forever. We need to bring it back. I think that would be good, wouldn't it? So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put it there in between the two jokers. Is that fair? I want you to see it really is going in between the two jokers. Hold your hand out for me one more time. We're going to bring it back. Put your hand on top. 3, 2, 1. Lift up your hand. If I told you your card was back again now, that would be amazing, right? You're not going to believe this. Hopefully. No, not yet. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Your card is now back. Wow. But not only is your card back, this really was your card from the very beginning. You know how I know this was your card from the very beginning? Because it actually had your card on the other side. That means it definitely was your card from the very beginning. So you can have that as a souvenir. Thank you very, very much. So, this routine is one that's really designed for walk around. And you can see me doing it on a table, and that's all well and good. But realistically, it's one that's designed specifically for walk around. Now, notice that I take the Joker's house at the very, very beginning, and I have somebody pick a card. Now, the force that I'm actually using here, I do get a lot of people asking me what this force is when I use it. It's a very old force. It's by Gary Alette, and it's called a touch force. And for my money, the touch force feels like a classic force, but without actually having the, the stress or the worry of not actually hitting the classic force. Now, what's nice about the touch force as well is it hides the back of the card the entire time. Even though they apparently see the back of their card because you take it and you upchug it, it actually hides the back of the card. So when you're doing a routine like this, where a card is going to vanish, or the back of the card is going to change, or something like that's going to happen, having that having that ability to show the back of the card first, as apparently being blue in this case, is just wonderful. It's just really, really nice. So the routine itself is great because the magic is happening into the hands of the spectators. And one thing that I think that I try to do with my magic is when I've created a routine, I look at the routine and I kind of say to myself, right, okay, what can I do with this routine that's going to allow me to have the magic happen in the hands of the spectators? What moments are there where the magic can happen in the hands of the spectators? Because we all know, right, that when the magic happens in the hands of the spectators, it's a more incredible moment. But a lot of the time, we don't examine our own routines and say, okay, well, how can I deconstruct this? How can I deconstruct that? How can I do this in such a way that's going to allow me to have the magic happen in the hands of the spectators? And if there's one thing that you can learn for this particular routine, it's have a look at all the magic that you do and see if there's any moments where you can put the magic in the hands of the spectators. Now, in this particular routine, it's fairly simple. The card turns blank, and then it prints again. Now, a couple of things I want you to notice. If you watch this routine back a couple of times, you'll see this was at the end of a very long day of filming. I'd been filming all day. I'd filmed 45 projects on this day, 45 individual tricks over the course of 2 days. And this is where I was getting all the live performances. I had to perform 45 completely separate tricks. And it got to a point where I was getting a little bit confused slightly. And you'll notice that at one point in the routine, or actually 2 points in the routine, I can't remember whether I'm set up to do a fingertip frustration count or not. And so I just bring the cards up so that I can get a glimpse of what's going on. Now, from their point of view, nothing's happened. I'm just displaying the cards. From my point of view, I'm getting the information that I need. So one thing that I can tell you from this is if you lose your way in a performance, and it can happen, trust me, it can happen. The amount of times I lose my way in performances is crazy. But if you do lose your way in a performance, then what you want to do is you want to think ahead of time about how you can actually find your way back, because it's normally relatively easy. But a lot of magicians, when this sort of thing happens, they panic. They panic. Oh my gosh, you know, I don't know where I am. The trick's going to go wrong. Whilst in reality, if you just take a step back and breathe for a second, you'll realize that it's actually probably a situation that you can get yourself out of very, very easily just by doing one gesture or checking something. And the audience don't really know what's going on. Obviously, you really should try and practice the tricks to the point that you don't need to do that. But, you know, there's one thing I've learned about magic is it never goes perfectly. There's always situations where things might go wrong or you might lose your way. And the best way to do and fix that is to, you know, think about it ahead of time and just take a step back. And that's normally the best way to deal with a situation like that.
So there you go, guys. That's another 5x5 in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again tomorrow at 6 o'clock with a Magic Live and 9 o'clock with another video. There's tons coming up on Magic TV. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.